What's good, y'all? It's your boy BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with the Lightning Collection, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, Green Ranger. All right, so we had our first look at this guy. Hopefully, you've seen him. I did show him off in the packaging, and of course, what the packaging looked like. And you do also get, of course, inside the box this little. Let me back it up. This little cardboard thing with the lightning bolts going down the side. So you got a green and gray lightning bolt back there, which is cool. It's nice that the Lightning Collection figures always come with these kind of like in the back of the box. So there you have that. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed Lost Galaxy as a season. I thought it was really cool. I love the theme song. Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. You know what I'm saying? That theme song went hard, but yeah, man, this is a pretty dope figure. Very clean for the most part. I found very few paint splotches on him. Overall, very nice, clean paint job all around. Really good articulation. Typical stuff for Lightning Collection. But yeah, and a very nice head sculpt, as you can see here, the alternate head sculpt for Damon, which looks really good. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get him rotating, and then we'll take a closer look. All right, so here he is on the 360 rotating base with all of his accessories that he comes with. And yeah, I gotta say, he looks really fantastic front to back. Very nice stuff going on here. Hasbro did a very nice job. The seller for this guy, I got this guy off of eBay, and I hit up the seller to see if it was okay to give them a shout out. They said they didn't want me mentioning their eBay store, unfortunately. So yeah, won't be able to drop their name or shout them out in this video. But obviously I appreciate them very much for hooking me up with this figure, and finally getting my Lost Galaxy collection kicked off with Damon here. So very happy to have this guy as my first Lost Galaxy Lightning Collection Ranger. Yeah, so there we go. All right, so let's get him coming to the front here, and we'll stop him here. All right, there we go. So I'm taking them off. We'll move these out the way, bringing them in for a closer look. You can see very nice head sculpt right away, right? That is I think that's probably one of the best likenesses in the Lightning Collection. As far as the actors go, I think this really does look a lot like Reggie Roll, who's the guy who played Damon. And yeah, just really nice. They probably did like a face scan or something. You could say maybe like the eyes look just a little bit animated, but I think like the overall shape and paint application for the face looks really good, very realistic. It does look a lot like, again, Reggie Roll. And yeah, I think it came out really nice paint for the eyes, the lips, the eyebrows, and that bald head that he's got going. Very nice skin tone, and nice color throughout the figure. Now, one of the first things I want to point out is that the green for this guy is definitely a lot darker on the figure than it was in the show. Here, I'll show you guys a quick Google image just to prove my point. All right, so here we go. Here's a quick image from the show, from Lost Galaxy. And you can see the green on his uniform is much lighter than what we see on the figure here. You can tell this is a much darker green. The green on the figure is a lot closer to what was seen in the Sentai Gingaman. So yeah, which I haven't seen yet, but I've seen clips of it. And obviously in Lost Galaxy they reused some of the Sentai footage for certain scenes. So you can actually see in the show when his suit goes from like a lighter green like this to what's seen closer to what's seen on the figure here, a much darker green. This is kind of like a pine green that they use for the figure. So yeah, honestly, I'm not mad at it. I still think it's a really nice color of green. I think it does look actually really good on the figure. The camera might actually make the green on him seem like a little bit darker, but it is a really nice green when you see it in person. So I'm not really mad at them necessarily for not using the lighter green, even though it might not be the most show accurate. So just be aware of that. But yeah, that is just a quick comparison from the figure to the show. Move this out the way. All right, so getting back to the figure, Again, overall, really, really nice details though. I think they pretty much nailed all the details on the costume. I heard some people saying in reviews that I guess like people were complaining that the spikes, like this Charlie Brown kind of pattern on his torso, and of course, you know, the gloves and the boots was they made it too sharp or like too pointy. Honestly, I don't really see that. I mean, I looked at images from the show and I think they look about right. I mean, you know, and I definitely wouldn't have a problem with them being, you know, more pointy. I think that looks better than them being, you know, too dull or anything. So I like the spike pattern that they did on the figure. I think they handled it very well. Like the transition from, you know, the upper torso where the diaphragm cut is, like down into the lower torso. I think, you know, those line up pretty well. So that's really good to see. At least on my copy, those line up very nicely. So when you know, at least have them in like a neutral pose, those are going to look really good. And then obviously when you start, you know, articulating him from the upper torso, they're going to get a little out of alignment, but for the most part, they are still going to look really good with what you see up top. So that's nice to see. But yeah, let's take a quick look at all of his accessories and then we'll get into play and display. So I had him holding his helmet. I'm going to take that out. Take out the Quasar Saber from his hand so you can see that. Alright, so we'll start with the helmet first. Here is the Lost Galaxy green helmet, and I think it looks fantastic. Really, really nice paintwork on this. As far as I can tell, it's show accurate. I don't think they missed any details. I'll have to double check, but all the paint seems to be in the right place. You got red paint here for the eyes, which looks really nice. And then of course the silver surrounding the visor, and then the silver streaks up top, which look really good. I believe his animal for like, or like his Zord was like a condor. So yeah, we had like the condor Zord. So this is a really nice, you know, representation of the show helmet. And of course you have like the little lips sculpted into the helmet as well. Do you guys prefer, you know, question of the day, do you guys prefer lips on the Ranger helmets, like, you know, by the visors or not? Honestly, I don't mind it too much, and I feel like certain Rangers, you know, certain helmets actually look pretty cool with it. So yeah, I mean, it can go either way for me. I'm pretty sure I have seen some designs where I didn't necessarily care for it, like them having the lips. I probably thought like, you know, the helmet or the visor would look better without them, but for this particular helmet, I think it does still look pretty cool. It's pretty nicely, you know, sculpted and painted, nice silver paint. And I will say the green on this helmet is actually a different shade of green than what's on the figure, even though it may not look like it. So I'll bring him back in. It may be hard to tell on camera. See if I can get some light, but I would say his helmet definitely has a little bit more of a blue to the green as compared to like the green on him. I'd say the green on him is a little more of a true green, whereas this one is like kind of like turquoise, or yeah, there's definitely like a hint of blue in this green, kind of close to like the you know, Tommy suit, or like the original Dragon Ranger suit that has like a little bit more blue in it. So yeah, I will definitely point that out real quick, but let's put him aside and the helmet, and then we'll look at his Quasar Saber. So he does come with his Quasar Saber, which is very nicely detailed, especially for, you know, a Lightning collection. This isn't like a SH Figuarts or anything, but they did get some really nice detail. You can see all the sculpting and the sword there, which looks really nice. You have the V kind of shape pointed or painted right there in the middle of the sword. It seems like there's a little bit of gold on like the edge of it. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know if the entire V is supposed to be painted black or if those gold like little sections in there are supposed to be there. I'll have to look at the show to be sure, like look up some images, but I mean, it does look pretty right. I don't know. Yeah, I can't tell if like all of this is supposed to be covered black or if that's like a little bit of mispaint right there. Maybe they didn't cover all of it, but either way, it still looks really good. Obviously, all this engraving looks really nice. They use a good silver metallic paint for the blade and a pretty nice color for the gold too. Yeah, I'd say it's like pretty show accurate. It's not like a super shiny gold, but it definitely has like some sheen, a little bit of luster to it. Really, really nice gold paint for this. And then of course down the handle you have some more of that zigzag pattern of the black cutting through the white, which looks really good. And you even have the symbol on the other side. You can see right there in the middle of the sword where the black circle is, you have a nice symbol in there. I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to be. I don't know if that's supposed to be a Zord or what, but it looks really nice. Came out pretty clean. And then you have, of course, the pommel, or like the base of the hilt, which is also done in a very nice gold color as well. And yeah, so that's your Quasar Saber. That's, of course, the fully opened Quasar Saber. And then you have the closed mode right here, which fits very nicely into his holster, by the way. But yeah, this is the closed version of the Quasar Saber. Very, very nicely detailed again. Very nice gold paint right there. And then you've got that symbol again in the center. And, obviously the closed up cross guards. They like close up around the blade. And then you have the black squigglies going down the hilt again. And of course you have some gold in here for the the tip of the sword, or the base. And yeah, very, very nicely detailed on both sides. You got those engravings again. So yeah, very, very nice closed version of the Quasar Saber. And then he also comes with the Trans Dagger, which is very nice, nicely detailed. It would have been nice if they had used silver paint instead of this kind of like cheaper looking, gray type of plastic. I mean, it's like just barely shiny. I think if they had used something similar to what was used on like the blade of the Quasar Saber, it would look a lot nicer. But they did at least get like the green and gold details in there, which look really, really good. And then you have even some sculpted detail inside of here with the green. That looks all very, very nice. So you have that. And of course he has like the little handle to hold it, and these like little cannons, sticking off the front of it right here, which you can attach the blast effect to. So he has a blast effect for the Trans Dagger. Very, very nicely sculpted. Nice color in here. Well saturated. It's kind of like, pinkish, purplish color. Pinkish red, purplish color. And yeah, pretty nice sculpt. And you can see right there in the front, it does have 2 holes. And that is where they are going to plug into the Trans Dagger. Like so. So yeah, you just plug that to the front and boom. Now you have your Trans Dagger with a blast effect, and he can hold that and look very, very cool, posed up with it, like shooting it at an enemy. So that is really, really dope. So he has that. And for alternate hands, he comes with a fist for the right hand. So he has a fist hand for the right, which is very nicely sculpted, obviously in all white, and you have like the sculpted lines for the top of the glove, which look good. So it's a little pegging his hands, in and out is pretty easy. You just pull them out like normal. Just grab, hold onto the figure's arm, nice and tight, pull them out, and you can swap them. And then here is a really nice style pose hand for his left hand. I posed him with this, just to see how it looked, and I think it actually looks really cool. This is like a really nice gesturing action hand. You could probably use something like this if you want to get him into like that running pose that they do in the show. They always look really funny when they run in Lost Galaxy. So yeah, I always found it funny that they do that kind of like animalistic running pose with their arms out. But yeah, you could probably use that or this hand to do something like that if you wanted, or just have him like, have this like in front of him, and you can do some really cool action poses. So yeah, you have that for your alternate left hand, and that's all of the accessories. And I'll show you the closed mode of the dagger does fit into his holster on the side, on his left side. Very nice. It's nice and snug. So you just slide this in there, push it down, and it snaps right into place. And it looks really, really good at its side. So here it is from the front, and bring his arm back forward. And there you go. Now you have the closed version of the dagger, the saber. Quasar Saber at his side. So yeah, that looks really good. Let's go ahead and switch out his alternate head for the helmet. So I'm just gonna pull this off. It is on a ball peg. It's a pretty tight fit. Let's go ahead and push the helmet on him. Make sure it's on there. All right, it pops on so you can hear that. And a lot of the early Lightning Collection figures kind of suffered from having like the no neck syndrome thing, right? So like their helmets would be seated down a little too low, so it looked like they barely had a neck. This guy isn't so bad. I think this is actually pretty nice. I've seen like way worse, like on some of the like Dino Thunder figures, and I think like the first release of the Mighty Morphin. But yeah, this guy isn't so bad. You can definitely tell he has a neck in there, so yeah, it actually sits pretty nice. But as far as articulation goes, some play and display, we'll start with the head sculpt. He has a little bit of tilt on the ball peg side to side, so you can get a little bit of attitude posing in there. And then he can look up pretty far. Really, really nice. Crank his head all the way back to look up, and then he can look down that far. Really nice. Tuck his chin in. And the articulation for the head is, for both heads, like pretty much as far as range. I tried it with the alternate head as well, the Damon head, and it does, it gets basically the exact same amount of range in each direction. Obviously, you can swivel it around 360 like that, so really nice. And then for the arms, we'll start with the butterfly joints. You get some really, really nice butterfly joints that allow him to bring the arms forward a good, decent amount. Back even better, so you get a nice range going back. If you want the arms outstretched to the back, you can see just how much range he gets. Really, really nice going backwards for those butterfly joints. So that is great to see. And then of course, his shoulders are on a ball hinge joint, so you can rotate them a full 360 like so. Sorry, I get a little focus. But yeah, you can rotate them, windmill, a full 360. You do have a nice bicep swivel cut, which is pretty nicely hidden for the most part. And it is a nice tight bicep swivel, so that looks really good. You got double jointed elbows that allow way past 90, so he gets a really good bend in the elbow. That looks great. You can bring that back out. No glove swivel, but he does have a swivel at the hands, of course. When I say no glove swivel, I mean, of course, in this upper forearm part, there's no swivel there, but you do have swivel in the actual hands themselves. You have a horizontal hinge for each hand, and that includes, the alternate hands as well. A vertical hinge would have been probably better since he wields, weapons like a sword, but, that's all right. And of course, he's able to hold his weapons pretty nice. The hands are sculpted pretty nice and tight, so he does hold the weapons without them being loose, which is always a good thing. But yeah, and they swivel all the way around. He's got an upper diaphragm joint cut, so you can of course lean side to side. He gets some decent leaning just from that top joint, which is good. And, he can wiggle around, really move, get dynamic with that upper joint. And then if you're just using the upper joint, he can bend forward only about that much, like hardly any at all, and almost nothing going back as well. But he does, of course, also have the ab crunch for the lower torso. Reverse ab crunch, which allows him, when you use both of those joints, he can get really far, bending forward, and then bending backwards. Again, very, very far. He can do some limbo action. So that is really nice. So bringing him back up. Of course, you can swivel from that top joint side to side, get a nice twist in there. You can twist all the way around if you wanted him to. For the legs, he's able to kick just shy of a 90 degrees going forward, a little bit shy, almost a perfect 90, but just a little bit shy due to the sculpt of the thighs. He does have a thigh swivel cut, which is nice. Pretty nice thigh swivel cut, not too noticeable. And then kicking back, almost nothing, pretty much virtually no range going back because of course it runs into the sculpt. You have double jointed knees that get him all the way up here, just pretty nice range, basically almost to the lower back, so that's good. He does have a boot swivel, all right, so he does have a boot swivel right here just below the knees. You can swivel that side to side. For the feet, you can hinge down this much, basically all the way to the tippy toes. You can kick his foot up that much, which is pretty nice, a decent range before it runs into the, upper part of the boot. And of course you get your ankle rocker or pivot in there, which looks very nice as well. No like rotating of the foot side to side, but of course you can use the boot swivel to make up for that if you want to get crazy with some leg poses. And then out to the side, he only gets about that much, about halfway to a 90 or 180 degrees, depending on how you look at it. Yeah, I guess that would be like about a 90, because if he was doing perfect splits, that would be a 180. So yeah, so he gets about like a 90 out to the side. But yeah, and that should be just about all of his articulation. And if you use the butterfly joints and then you swivel the biceps and of course like use the elbows as well, you can really get him doing some nice cross arm poses, which is really dope. And it would have been nice if they had thrown in a fist hand for what was it, his left hand, I believe. I think they gave him a fist for the right but not the left. So had they given him another fist hand for the left, that would have been really nice. But obviously you can kind of use this hand to kind of double it up and give it the appearance that he's making a fist. I mean, that's pretty close. So yeah, just wanted to mention that real quick. But yeah, very, very nice figure overall, man. As far as like, again, the fuzziness, the paint splotches that I saw in him, it was just a few. Like right here on the side of his torso, you can see in between these stripes, the stripe section, he's got like a little bit of a dot right there. I could probably clean that up, maybe some acetone or something, we'll get that right off. So that shouldn't be too bad, or just like a dot of white paint should be able to cover that. And then on the back of his boot, which one was it? One of his boots had like a gold speck on it somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Where'd it go? Okay, I think I found it. I think it was just this. It actually looks a lot less noticeable now. I did try to like scratch it off a little bit, but seems like, yeah, I think there was like a little bit of like a gold or like a little paint something right here on the side of his boot, but that doesn't look too bad. Could have sworn it was more noticeable. I thought it was actually like on the back of his boot. But yeah, and then also up here, I don't know if this is like a paint issue or what, but these kind of like little markings or whatever right here in the middle of these stripes, that doesn't look too great. So I might cover that up with some white paint to make that look a little bit better. But I mean, overall, the paint is really clean. This little section, you can see a little white in that black right there. But yeah, I might clean that up. But again, overall, very, very nice, clean paint job all around on the figure. I really didn't see any real paint issues that stood out to me. So yeah, very, very nice. Pretty clean. I guess you could say maybe up here by the collar, he has like a little bit of fuzziness, just a little bit of the green bleeding onto the white of his neck, but again, not too bad. But yeah, for the most part, very, very clean, nice, posable figure. So yeah. And like I said, I think that this alternate head sculpt is definitely one of the best that I've seen in the Lightning collection. I think it came out really, really nice. It does have a pretty good likeness to the actor, I would say. And yeah, I almost like want to display him with this head and just have him like holding his helmet, kind of like I did at the beginning of the review, because this head sculpt just came out really, really nice. And it's nice that it's not too glossy. It's a mostly like matte type of finish. It's not like very shiny, which makes it look 10 times better as far as like quality. So yeah, I might actually end up displaying him with this head and just have him holding his helmet a lot, because I really like how this one came out. But all that aside, let's see if there's anything else I wanted to mention. I mean, I got this guy off of eBay, like I said, for $22.83, and of course, the standard price retail for Lightning collection, typically like $25 a pop. So getting him a little bit cheaper was definitely nice. You should be able to find him for pretty good prices on the aftermarket. Maybe search Mercari and eBay. I would definitely check those two out. Or if you have Whatnot, maybe the Whatnot app, you might be able to find him on there. Yeah, I'm pretty, there should be no shortage of this guy online. I'm sure plenty of people are selling him for, a decent price. So definitely, obviously, highly recommend him for your Lightning collection if you're a collector of that or just a collector of Power Rangers figures in general. And if you like the Lost Galaxy season, then this is definitely one of the guys I think you need to have in your collection. And yeah, I will say, like on camera, he does like the green on him definitely does appear a bit darker. In person, he's more of like a little bit more vibrant of a green, I would say, than what's showing up on camera right now. Or maybe that's just because I was blocking some of the light right now. But yeah, I think now you can kind of see the green on him is definitely a little more vibrant than I think it shows up on camera. But I've got natural daylight coming in here, so this is about as accurate as the color's gonna get on him as far as the video goes. But yeah, enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into size comparisons so we can call it a day. All right. So no weapons in his hand. We'll just get him in a nice neutral pose. And it would be nice if his arms came down a little bit closer to his side. A lot of the Lightning collection figures kind of struggle with that, but you can kind of make up with that with the butterfly joints if you kind of pinch them in a bit and then rotate the biceps inward. You can kind of make it look a little better, but it's still not, all that natural looking. It'd be better if they came closer down by their sides, but yeah, just something I wanted to point out very quickly. Let's put them back here and get into size comparisons. So first up for Lightning Collection, we have the Lightning Collection Wild Force Red. This is of course a custom by Power Rangers fan _12 on Instagram. Unfortunately, we never got this guy in the official line, so I definitely had to grab the custom of him, and I think it looks great. Scales very well with Damon, as you can see. And then you have the Lightning Collection in Space Black Ranger, Carlos, on his other side. And yeah, I think the three of them look really, really nice stacked up. They're going to look so nice on the shelf. I'm trying to obviously get all the teams, together on the shelf. So I want to get, all the teams, by themselves. But, all my Lightning Collection Rangers kind of like on the same shelf. So, yeah, there you go. Those look really, really good. They stack up nice with him. For some more Lightning Collection, we've got Dino Thunder Blue and In Space Pink. All right, so we got Ethan and Cassie next to him. And yeah, I think they scale well. Ethan is about the exact same height. And Cassie's not much shorter. She's honestly just under him, just a little bit at the top of the helmet. So that looks really good. Very nice. Let's pull these out the way. Let's get some Bandai comparisons. So we have the green, Lightspeed Rescue green right here. And yeah, in the show, I would say his color was a lot closer to like this, as you saw with that Google image. And then we'll bring in Crimson Navy Thunder Crimson Thunder from Power Rangers Ninja Storm, the Ninja Flash Bandai version of him there. And I think that looks pretty nice. Let's move these out the way. For SH Figuarts, we have the Red Ninja Storm Ranger right here, or Hurricaneer. And let's see, for some Mafex, we'll bring in the Mafex comic version Daredevil. So yeah, I think those look pretty good. Daredevil is definitely the tallest, which I think is probably all right. I don't know if he'd necessarily be taller than him, but I think that works out. All right, moving them out the way. For Black Series, we got Count Dooku, and we have the Deluxe Cobb Vanth right here. And the three of them look very, very nice. Cobb Vanth about the same height. Dooku obviously a little bit taller than both. So that looks pretty nice. For some Mattel, we have the Mattel Kryptonian Command Key Superman from Man of Steel. And let's see, we'll bring in Odious the Living Curse right here by Unparalleled Universe, and I think that looks pretty good. Superman may be a little on the short side, but you know, the Mattel figures tended to be a little bit smaller in scale in comparison to the Lightning collection. So there's that. Some more Marvel Legends. We got the retro card Shocker right here, and Maximum Spider-Man. And you can see how those three stand. Maximum Spidey seems to be the tallest out of the three. But yeah, I think that works out okay. And then we'll bring in the Prowler, the Walmart exclusive retro card Prowler right here. And for Toy Biz, we'll bring in the Sentinel Build-A-Figure Wave Cyclops. And yeah, I think that works out pretty well as well. All right, so one more Lightning collection. We have Mesogog, bring him, compare him with the villain. And for McFarlane toys, we'll compare him with the DC Rebirth Deathstroke. I always say Deathstroke. All right, so there you go. Obviously, Deathstroke is the tallest, towering over the other two. Mesogog is just slightly taller if you count like the top of his horn, but he's around the exact same height as Lightning or Lost Galaxy Green. So there you go, man. That is it. That is the end of my review. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you're new, please be sure to subscribe. We got a lot more coming to the channel very, very soon. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what other figures you want to see reviewed on the channel. I appreciate all you guys. Have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Power.